Cuando le escuché a Bruce Lipton esta historia, casi me caigo de la silla. ¿Sabías que el manual de una Macintosh de 1984 tenía algo que ver con la epigenética? Mejor dejo que él mismo te cuente lo que descubrió.
Oh, and the first thing that hit me was, I can't die. I'm not even in here. I was working not on the genes, I was working on the skin of the cell, the membrane. And it was so profound, it's hard for me to even describe it. I'm working on the understanding, how does information from the environment control biology? And I had looked at the membrane for years, and I wrote a new definition of the mechanism of the membrane. And I wrote this definition, and this is in 1985. It was about 2 a.m., and I wrote down the membrane is a liquid crystal semiconductor with gates and channels. When I wrote that down, there was a pause, and I said, I read something exactly like that. And right next to my first computer, a Macintosh, was a simple book of understanding your microprocessor. And I opened it up, and I said, somewhere, and I opened it right in the introduction. It said, a chip is a crystal semiconductor with gates and channels. And I thought, oh, what a coincidence. They have the same definition. And then in a couple of seconds, I started to say, wait a minute, one for one, the parts are exactly the same. I said, oh my God, the membrane is a computer chip. And on the surface of the cell are like keys, like on a typewriter. And I started to realize, oh my goodness, the environment is typing on the surface of the cell information that went into the cell and controlled the genetics and the behavior. And it was like, oh, this is real exciting. And I'm typing on my own computer, typing this information in, and then I realized I am outside of the computer, typing on the keyboard, and the information is coming up on the computer. Then I said, oh my God, this keyboard on the surface of your cells has a number of keys that represent a PIN number, a personal identification number, and no two of you have the same keys on that. Each of us have a different PIN number to get into our own cells. It's our personal identity, and these are the keys. And I realized, oh my God, while we've been focusing on these, what are called receptors, as the source of identity, I realized, no, it's what's activating, what's typing is the identity. And then it hit me and said, oh my God, my identity is not in the cell. My identity is a signal coming from the environment, typing on the keyboard. And then I said, oh, and the first thing that hit me was, I can't die. I'm not even in here. And that instant of fear, which all of us have in our deepest bottom belief system, is a fear of our mortality. And when that moment of like, I can't die, not as a devotional belief, it had nothing to do with that, it was just a mechanism, I said, oh my God, I can't die. I'll tell you, the same thing happened with Sabaji as me. Tears started rolling down my face, and this joy was an ache in my heart that I've never experienced before. I spent 40 years in my head. That's how I became an academician and a research scientist. And when this moment hit, it was my heart that blew open. I refer to it as a heart orgasm. And, and that was the first time I experienced my heart as an essential part of my own conscious existence. And what happened was, I was overwhelmed. First with the fact that I was not spiritual at 1:59 a.m., and at 2 a.m., I was 100% spiritual.